Hi and welcome to VYAPT Growth Series Season-2, and this is episode 12. This is a series where we talk about growth and sustainability of various sectors through business leaders. And in our growth series today, we have with us Mr. Vivek Bali, CEO Enrich. Hi Vivek, nice to have you in our series.
Good morning, Pankaj, and my pleasure to be with you all.
So Vivek will start with our curiosities, and I'll go with my first curiosity with you. And you know, And when we talk about the growth prospects, what are the prospects of the industry and how it is working towards making a sustainable future? You have been a veteran in this industry, which you represent, and I would probably, like you to probably tell about your industry, and then, probably if you can talk something around the growth prospects and the sustainability part of it.
Yeah, I think when we look at beauty, you basically have two aspects of the business. There is a service aspect of the business, and which is about beauty services, and there is the retail business, which is about retailing the products and brands in the stores. So when we look at the India market, I think it's a fairly large market. We can say now when we add beauty and personal care, because there is a overlap between the two. So it's about $37.2 billion market in India, you know, and
Mhm.
that is the number that it will reach by 2025, and then, it's growing at a nice pace of about 12.5% compounded annual growth. So I think by 2025 we should be in that area. And I think the opportunity that came, 4 5 years back, still continues, which is that we have about 122 plus million, estimated number of online beauty shoppers,
Mhm.
by the same period. So that is also, escalating at a nice velocity. And I think when I look at the total market of 37.2 billion, out of that 5.6 billion, is the online market opportunity for direct to consumer brands, which are again from the beauty and personal care market. Now, what is significant in this is that, when we look at the core categories, which is your makeup, skincare, hair care, and fragrances. So obviously in India, hair care is the largest part of the market. You know, and it is the because it has deep penetration going right from metro cities down to about 1,000 population town. So hair care is massive in India. This, and it is growing pretty well. Secondly, the number two market in beauty is skincare, which is also growing at almost about 16% per annum, and again has deep distribution not only in retail online but also going deep into 1,000 population towns. Not all the full range but some products. uh, the third, the sunrise segments, which I say are makeup and fragrances. This has happened in the last 4 5 years with the evolution of say uh, in India, say the launch of Sephora in India, and the launch of Nykaa in India. So I
Mhm.
think both these had their own specialities. One specializes more in retailing the products. The other specializes more in the e-commerce version of sales. So both accelerated the growth and accessibility of beauty products to their customers. One was going right from mass to premium. The other one was taking the premium market. So I think it was a great combination that worked the market, and people got to see a lot of brands. People got to try a lot of brands, and therefore, when we look at the premium segment in beauty, makeup is a fairly large business. In the premium segment, it's almost
True.
about I mean, I could say 35 to 40% of any of the top retailers' business.
Mhm.
The second segment that picked up was fragrances. Fragrances, again, it's always been in India, and most of our fragrance oils and fragrance ingredients go from India to Paris and get made over there. But now that these brands are available and there is more authenticity from where you buy it, I mean, you have people are more confident, of buying it locally. Otherwise, people were buying overseas, when they were traveling. So now it is available, and then the key retailers, say for example, like Sephora or Nika, or now even Enrich, and a Shopper Stop, a Lifestyle. These are the kind of places which are absolutely, you can be rest assured that products are authentic, and original. So that has built up the confidence, in the fragrance buying in India, and it is also because of the rise in the male grooming. Even the male grooming has picked up. Men are more conscious, women are obviously more conscious, and there is a changing regimen for each one of them. So I think these two categories are growing pretty fast, and that's how I see the market growth
Mm-hmm.
accelerating. And the reason why it is accelerating is because India is a young country. We have almost 35, 60% of the population which is less than 35 years of age. Now you have almost so many years of consumption ahead of you, and these are your core customers. Unlike a Europe or North America where the population is aging,
Mm-hmm.
and so we have that advantage, and we have certain good projects going on in the country which are building of smart cities. So therefore more number of malls will come, more number of retail locations will come, and therefore brands will be expanding across the country. I think those are my ideas on the growth in India.
Okay. And when you talk about the sustaining the future, you talked about the population, which is much younger here in India, and you see the growth prospects coming in. Is there any other aspects of sustaining the future or sustainability aspects which you're looking at in your business?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, a great question. In the sense that, see, what happens is, as awareness builds up towards various things, how do you, protect your environment, and how do you make products that are clean. So I think that awareness is building up quite rapidly across the globe, and obviously India is not far behind. Indians are very well traveled. They travel across Europe and North America, and they see it all over there. Plus today, the world is one, when you look at it on the websites. So internet. So I think that connectivity has brought more awareness, and more awareness has bringing, generating a certain need in the market, and that need, has become a want, and that want has become a product, already. So I think what has happened is that, when you look at the market, if I say again, go back to the categories that we have, you have makeup, you have skincare, you have fragrances, and you have, say, hair care. So every brand which exists today is already thinking about launching something called clean beauty.
Mm-hmm.
So, whether I look at hair care, or whether I look at skincare, or whether I look at makeup, all the three, have products which are now, you can say, clean. Clean would mean that, the use of plastics has come down, the use of no sulfates, and it's vegan, it's cruelty free. Those kind of products are coming in, and I do remember launching myself. Something basic as an accessory. Brushes which are vegan and cruelty free. Also skincare. Which is vegan and cruelty free. So I think, and their response has been pretty good, in all these areas. And I think shortly we will also start seeing in India, brands which are coming in, which are clean makeup. So I think the market is evolving in that area, but obviously it will remain a certain niche. It's not that it's going to dominate the whole, category, but it will remain a certain niche, and the niche can grow and become big, if this momentum carries on.
I also believe the customers slowly and steadily are very mindful of what they are using as well, and this is also driving the change which is coming from the organization's point of view.
Yes, yes. I think
Uh,
the awareness levels are high, which is good.
moving forward, when you talked about that, a lot of things are being done in terms of the growth aspects, and you talked about the sustainability aspect and the mindful customers who are aware about different things, what to use and what not to use, where to go and where not to go. Can you also talk about what are the upcoming innovation which is happening in this particular industry? Because you talked about the industry is quite big, coming 2025, it's $37.2 billion. So that's a quite a big industry. So what kind of innovation is this industry doing, and how is it impacting direct and indirect employment opportunities?
No, I think a great question. See, what happens is when you look at the industry has certain players which are very traditional and have always been there. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and if I have to start from the mass brands, these are players like Lakme, Revlon, Maybelline, Lotus, Calabar, Himalaya, VLCC, uh, uh, these brands, Kama, L18, Ole. These brands have all been there, and they are there, and they are fairly well researched and well distributed, across the country. So these traditional players are going to remain, in the business. But what you are seeing now are new age companies which are also coming in. Some of them could be very, very good online. Some of them have just started to improve in their distribution and making the products available. So I'm sure you have heard of these brands. Say Nika. Nika
Hmm.
came up in the last 4 5 years.
True.
You have say for example Mama Earth, which has come up in the last few years. M Caffeine, which has come up in the last few years, and Arata, which has come up in the last few years. So I think these are the new age companies which are coming up. Sugar, which is another one in the new age companies. And when you look at the traditional players, so obviously Sephora, as a retailer is there. Bobby Brown as as a brand and has its own boutiques. Mac has its own boutiques, and it is also available in other retailers. So these will also remain on the and Clinique, Estee Lauder, all these brands will remain in the traditional side of the business, but obviously they have a very modern offering to the customer, for the new age customer. And then there are these new age companies which have come up, and which are also have their own brands. They are also retailers, some of them, and they are doing pretty well. So I think it is a great evolution where a lot of Indian brands suddenly, have started to come into the market. Earlier, when we were talked about which are the brands from India, you could just name a few. Like Lakme has been dominating the Indian market on the mass side, and and the others have now started to open up. So I think this also is an indicator that the market growth is fantastic in India and the opportunity is big. But I think every brand needs to tread with caution, because there are as many retail spaces. The issue is that we have not, while the number of brands that are coming in is large, the country has not kept up pace by creating retail spaces.
Hmm.
So what happens is if the infrastructure develops faster, across the country, then obviously there is a lot of space for brands to play. Now, otherwise, you can actually count the number of malls in India on your hand, and so that many locations can come, where brands can go. So I think while brands are being aggressive and announcing large plans to expand, I think they need to be wary that where are these retail spaces, where you're going to go. So I think that is the question, because when you look at our infrastructure, it is developing, but it is still, say for example, if I have to compare to China, we might be still about 5 6 years behind them, on the infrastructure.
Hmm. So you talked about that we need to keep up the pace for developing infrastructure in order to boom all these organizations and to keep pace with other countries as well. But can you also talk about, as you said, the large number of companies or startups also coming up in this particular space, and this space has a lot of potential in the coming years. So what kind of employment opportunities? I'm sure it's directly proportional as it seems. But what kind of employment opportunities do you see coming up with this kind of aggressive, businesses doing in this beauty segment?
I see, a good amount of opportunity, and I think it should accelerate as the brands, so the first thing when you see is that a lot of Indian-grown brands, that means the manufacturing is happening in India, in
Mm-hmm.
most cases. So they have a factory, so there is factory employment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, factory employment will go into manufacturing, into quality control, into raw materials, into packaging, and and then the final logistics. So I think those are the areas that will develop very quickly. We'll have a lot of openings coming up. The second part, when you look at it, is distribution. So there will be a lot of warehouses which will come up. You know, so there will be warehousing. So there will be employment for warehousing. And today, warehouses are modern. So you have very modern warehouses with modern machinery. So you will have that kind of employment in supply chain. The third thing is that when the product reaches the stores, so you have malls. So malls, if malls are growing, a lot of malls have announced aggressive plans to open. Big players like, say, for example, Phoenix Market City, or you have, say, for example, Nexus Group, uh, and you have, say, DLF. The all of them have been announcing great plans to build new malls, now, which is good. So, again, at the mall level, there will be employment. And within the malls, when the brands come in, there will be employment. So, there is a retail opportunity. So, what I see is there is a manufacturing sector, there is a logistics sector, and there is a retail sector for large employment. So I think those are the areas which will develop, and this develops across the country. It's not that it's localized at one place; it grows across. And generally the trend that people follow is start from the metro city and go to tier one, tier two, tier three cities. Some of them are doing the reverse, starting from the tier three, tier two, tier one, and then coming towards the metro city, because metro cities seem to be getting a little more jammed, for space.
Mm-hmm.
So I think both strategies are working for companies, and employment will be there, as these companies are expanding. Hopefully, we have got rid of COVID. It might keep coming here and there, but I think in the long run, the disruption should not be there.
So after this conversation, wherein you have been really bullish around the growth of this beauty products and the kind of segment and industry we are into, we will go forward to our rapid fire questions. It's an interesting segment of 10 questions, uh, and you can answer it in one word or a maximum of a sentence. Are you
Yeah, yeah.
ready?
Yes, absolutely.
So here we go. So my first question to you: what do you like, getting up early or working late?
Well, right through my life, it's been getting up early, and that started with I went to a boarding school called Mayo College in Ajmer. So
Mm-hmm.
we had to rise early, and that habit continues even till now. So I'm an early riser, and I mean, corporate also takes you into working late. But sometimes, when we were in the junior and middle management, obviously working late used to be a norm, in the sense at that time. But I think now it's become a little more, because you have larger teams, you have specialized people. So I think the work gets distributed, amongst many functions. But earlier it used to be lesser number of people and more work for everybody.
So the second question to you: what's your favorite superhero?
Oh, right through my childhood, and I think he's still alive. It's been Clint Eastwood.
Okay, wonderful. Uh, French fries or nachos?
Oh, always fries. Yeah.
Always fries.
Yeah.
Who do you look up to the most?
Uh, I think it's inspirational to see, how businesses have been built, and how how they started and where they have reached. So I think one of my inspiring stories, since I've been in the beauty segment right since, say, the last 29, 30 years, it's been Sephora, and the way they have started and the way they have revolutionized the beauty industry, I think they've been phenomenal. You know, in terms of giving that experience to customers. So I think that's one. So which I give it to Sephora on the beauty side. But obviously, I mean, I look up to people like Indra Nui, who went on to become the head for Pepsi. I think she's been an inspirational, person, and I think, yeah, I mean, these two would be my, favorites.
Fair enough. But you were also one of the instrumental person in the growth of Sephora. So obviously, we cannot exclude your part into Sephora as well. So the next question is, what's your favorite movie genre?
I like to see westerns. Like I said, Clint Eastwood is a favorite, so I like to see a lot of spaghetti westerns. I like to see war movies because they are historical and
Mhm.
they tell you a lot about what happened,
Mhm.
in the past, and how countries got devastated and how they rebuilt themselves. Now, and how they are a different country today. You know, so I think Western spaghetti and war movies.
Okay. What's your last Google search?
Last Google search, I was searching for a destination to go for a holiday, and I found one somewhere closer to Shimla.
Okay. What's a hidden talent that you have? People may not be knowing it, but some hidden talent which you have.
Yeah, I'd see. I think the basic thing is I like traveling. I like adventure, and I think one thing that really the hidden talent is that I've always been a great swimmer right
Mhm.
from school days. So I swim practically. Used to swim earlier practically every day. Today it's become an activity which is twice a week, but I still do it as a passion.
Mhm.
And I like riding. So whenever I get an opportunity to ride horses, I do that. I love those animals; they're excellent, and the human being and horse relationship is fantastic.
And that has been over the years as well. We
Yeah,
have seen horses were our first friends when we started.
yeah.
Uh, so a lot of hidden talent, in fact. How do you spend your weekend?
Weekend actually spend. I take out time. I again. I don't sleep late. I get up early. It's like whether it's a Saturday or a Sunday. I'm up early. I do my exercises. I go for my walk and run, and I do my exercises. That I do it first thing in the morning, so that I don't depend on what's going to happen in the evening. And I think then it's a family day, so you spend time with the family, or you go out together as a family.
What would you prefer, a Zoom call or a telephonic call?
It depends, on the person where they are comfortable. Some people are comfortable on a phone, some people are on a Zoom call. So the choice is there, and with family it is much easier. It's like just saying, "Ki, okay, come on to the Zoom." But with friends, sometimes they might be wanting to only chat, or they just want to Zoom calls today we do as a group, alumni groups. We do a lot of Zoom calls with our old friends to see how they are, how they look now, what are they doing. So I think we do that in our alumni groups quite a bit.
Okay. And the last one is your favorite day of the week.
Oh, definitely Monday, because what happens is that Monday is the day when you actually look at what happened over the weekend, in retail sales. So you want to really catch up with the numbers, and it's a good day to give and get feedback from your management team. So definitely Monday is my best day, and I think Monday to Friday for me have been fairly productive. Energy levels remain almost the same, right till Friday. and therefore you look forward to your Saturday, Sunday.
So 10 on 10 to you. You have been pretty straight in terms of answering the all the 10 questions being asked in the rapid fire round. And now we'll move on to the to our last curiosity, which is about you as a leader. And you have been fairly humble in your approach in all the three questions, wherein you have talked about various things, in terms of sustainability, the growth, the kind of opportunities, this particular segment in terms of beauty styling and other industries are providing. But you know can you talk about some of the memorable lessons which you have learned from the mentors, in your career, or maybe at the school as well as your college level, and how has it impacted your leadership style?
Yeah, I mean, in fact, there are. I've worked with some great leaders who've gone on to become, very senior people in the industry, and I think you always tend to, pick up something from a lot of things from them, which you would like to put into practice, in your routines. Now, I think. I mean, what I can remember is when I started off as a management trainee, and my first posting was in Delhi, you know, and that was a time when, Punjab was not normal. There was unrest over there.
Mhm.
And when I landed in Delhi, so very smartly, the person who was inducting me said that, you have been assigned Punjab. Yeah, to learn, for your first 6 months of training. Yeah.
Mhm.
Now, obviously, they were probably waiting for me to react, to that. I didn't. There was no reaction, and I said, "Sure." I mean, you've given me an order and an assignment. I will take it. And that was something which surprised them, and I think that actually paved the way right through my life. That has been always accept challenges, you know, and never shy away from them and move forward with that challenge. So I think that was one lesson that I got over there, and it's been right through, in my career. Uh, when I was picked up in Lakme, I was working for Lakme, and when I was picked up amongst a large group of managers and said that, you have been selected to go and start our business in Russia and Eastern Europe. So everybody, thought that, from India you're going to Russia and all that, and Russia was, in a kind of a, they're just broken up from the Soviet Union. So people, everybody looks at the Western media and says that, okay, वहाँ पे तो ये है, वहाँ पे वो है, But the thing is that you took the challenge, and to my surprise, when I went there, it was a totally different world. It was nothing that we see, on TV. It was a totally different world. Everything was very well organized. People are nice. People are intelligent, excellent, intelligent breed. The only thing is, to be part of them that time, you had to learn the local language. So that's another lesson, that if you're going on an international assignment and you're going overseas, I would suggest you learn the language, because when you learn the language, you get closer to the people of that country. You know, otherwise, if you're using a interpreter all the time, you don't understand the emotion behind what the other person is saying.
True.
So that's another lesson, in understanding an international market. So I think, and I think the fourth thing, which is extremely important and has carried through my life, has been that believe in the market, believe in the bazaar. You know, what you can see in the stores, what you can see in the malls, you can't sit and understand that when you're sitting in an office. So always be in touch with the market wherever you are. Today to my team, I always suggest that, if you have, when we have 5 day working, please spend 2 days in the stores. Go and meet the customers, go and see how they are buying, what they are buying, how they are trying. See how your beauty advisors are helping them. If they're not helping them, then your customer experience is going down the drain. So I
Hmm.
think those things get imbibed, when you learn these things. You also learn new trends in makeup, new trends in and how people are adopting it in skincare, how people have started to try fragrances, how fragrances are being merchandised. So I mean, when you go to the market, you know all this. So I think believe in the market, go to market.
So wonderful. So you had a lot of lessons which has come from your mentors, and along the way, the journey have been exceptional and beautiful. There are few people who reach to a position where you have reached, although all of us aspire. I am sure your words has been inspiration to many, as we believe that going up the ladder requires a lot of resilience, hard work, and also grabbing the opportunity which comes in our way. Thank you so much, Vivek, for being a part of VYAPT Growth Series and enlightening us on the beauty industry as well as some of your leadership lessons. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pankaj. It's been wonderful, and thank you, audience. You've been wonderful.
Thank you so much.